Becoming a UFC champion has its perks as well as its inevitable drawbacks. There may be fame and fortune, but there are also liabilities. And one of the most intense side effects of overnight fame is the sudden interest everyone takes in matchmaking your next fight. UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou is no exception to this. After dethroning Stipe Miocic in early 2021, Ngannou was the new champion for mere minutes before the drama began. And it started where UFC drama often starts, with Jon Jones. Tweets flew, analysts and pundits started postulating, fans got excited. What would a heavyweight match between Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou look like? On paper, a dream matchup. But as any longtime fan of UFC will tell you, dream matchups rarely become anything more than fantasy. Issues of fighter pay and fragile egos too often get in the way. Like, share, and subscribe to the Ultimate Fighting Network as we find out the real reason Jon Jones won't fight Francis Ngannou. The drama started on Twitter, as drama usually does, when Jon Jones tweeted out, directly after Francis Ngannou's win over Stipe Miocic, the telling statement of "Show me the money." It's not difficult to suss out Jones's implication with that tweet among the others he posted that night. If the UFC will pony up the cash, Jones will be happy to fight Ngannou, and everyone will be satisfied. But is it really that easy? The MMA community doesn't think so. As soon as the tweets dropped, so did the opinions of fans and pundits alike. By making the negotiation public, Jones is in a prime position, leveraging the interest of fans against the organization to up his price. Fans want to see the Ngannou versus Jones fight, and they'll be very upset if the UFC doesn't pay up to make it happen. But reading his tweets, others had a different interpretation. Some think that Jones is afraid to fight Ngannou, and he's going to overprice himself to make sure that fight doesn't happen, while also appearing to want it. It's a win-win. So is Jon Jones underpaid, or just afraid? Let's break it down. Thanks for watching this far. Please help support us by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. We appreciate you. Fighter pay is a deeply sensitive issue in the MMA community and seems to be the subtext behind most dramas and conflicts in the industry. Some take the position that fighters are already making more for their efforts than other professions do, so they should take what they get and be grateful. Very few professions outside of sports can turn you into a millionaire. But even barring the clear element of risk involved in combat sports, a cursory glance at MMA compared to other professional athletics shows a huge discrepancy in pay. Narrowing the field even further, comparing MMA to boxing is night and day in terms of salary. The highest paid boxers in the world figure in the tens to hundreds of millions. That's a luxury afforded to only a small handful of MMA fighters. Most, even champions, hover in the low millions through their entire career. When Jon Jones asks for more money, some see it as a sign that the UFC should be paying attention and acting accordingly. Because if Jon Jones was in any other athletic career, he'd be making double, triple, even quadruple what he does now based on his level of skill. Jon Jones is frequently touted as the GOAT, hands down. Even MMA fans who don't like Jones admit he's one of the best. So by this logic, Jones is well within his rights to ask the UFC for a bundle to fight Ngannou. Furthermore, if this is the case, then Jones understands the leverage he has. Fans want to see Ngannou versus Jones, and they'll be very upset if the UFC doesn't pay Jones what he asks to let this fight happen. Based on this, Jones is making a smart business move, and many fight analysts strongly believe that Jones has a great chance of beating Ngannou handily. But others aren't so sure.
He'll knock you down. I mean, Jon Jones can win a fight every single possible way that there is. So when you're looking at that fight, it's pretty straightforward. If you're picking Ngannou, then you're saying Ngannou's going to knock out Jon Jones. Real simple. Jon Jones has never been knocked down, let alone knocked out. Now, you can counter that argument by saying, well, he's never fought anybody like Ngannou. You'd be 100% true. 100% correct. All I'm offering for you is that's a hard fight for Ngannou. If you think that Jon Jones is going up to take on Ngannou and he's just going to go get ran over, that's not what you're going to see.
On the other hand, so the rumor goes, Jon Jones might be using the issue of fighter pay to dodge a fight he really doesn't want to have. Why? Because Francis Ngannou is no joke, that's why. And neither is the move up to heavyweight. While Jones has teased a comeback to the UFC that involves him bulking up to heavyweight, he's not yet fought in that division. This makes the prospect of a match with Ngannou especially enticing. Ngannou's incredible knockout strength against Jones' unorthodox and tricky style would be incredible to behold, and everyone has an opinion of how it would turn out. Many think that Jones would be the clear favorite based on his level of skill and his record. But there are those who think that Ngannou would defeat Jones, cementing himself as the true greatest of all time. Having never fought as a heavyweight before, would Jones struggle against a consummate heavy hitter like Ngannou? Or would experience win out, with Jones having had a much longer professional career than Ngannou? In this scenario, it's more of a gamble than it seems, and maybe Jones doesn't want to find out who's the better fighter. In that case, it would be easy for him to ask for an amount of money he knows the UFC won't pay, then wash his hands of the whole thing. A transparent tactic, but effective. Will Jon Jones fight Francis Ngannou? UFC history seems to imply that he won't. Fantasy matches and dream bouts never seem to materialize in the political underpinnings of the UFC, where negotiations are made and signed far away from the prying eyes of the public. But the possibility exists, though it predicates on one major factor. Will the UFC pay Jon Jones what he asks for? And by doing so, will they make a statement about how they'll pay their fighters in the future? What do you think? Will Jones fight Ngannou? Is he afraid to? Or will the UFC meet his demands? Comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching the Ultimate Fighting Network.